Anybody that watches MMA knows this man, of course, Sayif Saud, who has been building an absolute group of killers in my hometown of Dallas, Texas at Fortis MMA. Always proud to see you doing good, Sayif. But now you've cornered a UFC world champion as well, man. It's been kind of a whirlwind experience, but man, have you been able to soak it all in and just think about what this experience has meant for you?
Yeah, it's definitely been a crazy last few months, man. I mean, I think the story is kind of well documented at this point. But I just got back from Rio today. Actually, I was the last man stuck on the island. Everybody left, the whole crew left, but yeah, I couldn't get a flight back until last night, and got back this morning and saw the kids and stuff. So no, yeah, it's been crazy, man, but been great. All very positive things.
So as you said, kind of well documented what happened. I mean, James Krause had to step aside. You were able to step in here. You were kind of tapped on to do this. It's a wild situation, right? I mean, you haven't worked with Brandon before. It's a world title fight on relatively short notice, an important world title fight at that. I mean, did you have any hesitation?
Very.
Yeah, was there any hesitation in thinking like this is just too tall of an order or too weird of an assignment to take part in?
No, I think that you got to look at the subject matter, and the subject matter is Brandon, and Brandon is the easiest, like, nicest guy in the world, and he just so happens to be a hell of a fighter and a world champion, right? So this fight obviously had epic magnitudes. I mean, not only is this a title fight, but this is a quadrilogy fight for a legacy of a whole athlete, a division, the history of the UFC, never been done before. So go down in enemy territory is definitely, a tall order. But haven't I met with Brandon, man, and we gelled, and me and the team gelled, and the coaches gelled, and it was just like a big family, man. And we made it a mission, and we went down there on a mission, and we completed the mission. So I'm really happy. I'm really thrilled for him and his family and everybody involved.
That's awesome, man. So that's one side of it, right? Like how you connected with Brandon, but then the other side of it is it took you away from Dallas a lot. It took you away from your family, the gym family, and your family. You know what I mean? So was that a difficult choice to say, I'm going to make the commitment to this, 6 weeks or whatever, splitting my time? I mean, that couldn't have been easy for you either.
I think out of respect for the event and out of the respect, you got to look at it this way. I always tell everybody, each fight is the biggest fight. Like, I got a guy fighting his first fight. That's his biggest fight, right? Like, that's his biggest fight. An amateur guy, it's his big. That moment is just as big to him as any UFC moment, because that's his first step, right? I mean, if you can't, you can't crawl, then you can't walk, then you can't run. I mean, that's just the way this works. So this fight, I mean, you just got to give it up to Brandon and Deiveson for was such an epic fight. Like, I knew that would require so much focus and so much energy, and I just told myself I'm going to do both. Like, I train my team more than I think I have ever. I mean, we were doing double practices in the morning, practices at night, because I wanted to show them, like, anything is possible if you just grind, and you can either I always say, find a way in, don't find a way out. That's what I always say. Find a way in, don't find a way out. And, I found a way in, and I just worked twice as hard. And, there were some moments in there where it probably wasn't the healthiest thing, as far as running the gas tank, but that's what greatness requires, John. And Brandon deserved that too, right? Brandon did not do anything to be in this position. He didn't do anything wrong. He's just a kid here trying to make his history and his legacy. So I was fully committed to both. And I felt like it made me a better coach, and we're always trying to get better at our craft. So, it worked out.
That's awesome. So I'm curious what your approach was, Sayif, because knowing the amount of time that you have to work together and knowing that he's already an elite level fighter, was your idea, hey, let me just come in and try to be a continuation of what he's already doing? Or was it to come in and say, I think I can make you better even in this amount of time, and let me try to impact some change to you?
I think we had a great team, aligned. We had Izzy Silva is a world-class wrestling coach, fantastic. Hector Vasquez, an unbelievable jiu-jitsu coach based there. Cobrinha in Vegas. We had Hoya, his Muay Thai coach, who lives in Puerto Vallarta, left his kids, left his family, staying there with him. We had all his boys, Marcelo, Macio. We had so many people that were, 100% committed to this. And when I went in there and I saw what was going on, no, my immediate thing was we can do it better, and every coach thinks that, right? We can do it better. We can make it better. And I felt like Brandon performed maybe better than he ever had. His discipline and just how sharp he was and how precise he was with what he was doing. I was saying all camp, let's be a sniper. We don't need to go out there and brawl. And I thought, in the last fight, he brawled with Deiveson a little, and he gave Deiveson a chance. This time, we weren't giving him a chance. He just beat him skill for skill. He beat him in the boxing, he beat him in the wrestling, and he beat him on the ground. And it was a real beautiful performance, and one that I thought, was maybe one of his strongest to date. And I think that was just a testament to everybody's commitment in the camp. All of us were on him preaching the same thing. And then Brandon's leveling up, 29 years old. He's getting to his prime, and I really think that's where he's going. He's just starting. I think he's going to, keep on getting better and better. So
I know how much respect you have for Brandon and the team around him. I'm just wondering, like, kind of what your feel was, right? Like, I know how confident you are in yourself, how confident you are in your team, but this is such a unique situation. I'm just wondering if there was this almost like sense of responsibility. Like, I don't want to screw this up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to step in here and make a mistake that makes something go wrong versus, the greatness that he's done. Was there any of that fear, I guess, or concern that, like, I don't want to mess this thing up for this kid?
Sure. You can't live in fear, John. You gotta walk through the fire. And I mean, every situation has an opposite coin, right? Every situation, you could go into a situation and be like, oh shit, man, I hope I don't mess this up and blah, blah. But that's never my mindset. My mindset is, how do we win? And that's all I ever focus on is winning. All I care about is winning. And I think that's pretty well documented in anything, in any type of competition. I want to win. And especially a world title fight, especially a legacy fight. So, no, I mean, we all saw it the same way too. All of us coaches saw it the same way, and they had all dissected it the same way. And I think that this was just a really, really good execution on everybody's part. Everybody did their part, man. It was like, it's such a cool story, and there's a doc actually called The Last Dance. About it. I have a post on my IG somewhere, but also Ariel retweeted it yesterday. I mean, it's really, really cool. This kid put it together, and it's 20 minutes, but kind of just shows the whole camp. So I'm really glad. It's just something we could always go back and watch too, and kind of remember, like, it was pretty awesome what we did, man. We all just kind of came together, and it was all positive energy, and it was all love. And there was never I don't ever let negative thoughts or fear deter me. I always take the leap. That's just who I am. And that's what we did, man. We took the leap and we got it done.
It's awesome. I guess ideally, if you were writing the movie, it would have been one of your homegrown guys that won the first belt in the gym that you got to keep. But I mean, is this something that you think, like, this leveled you up, or there's lessons that you took out of this experience that are going to help Fortis MMA as a whole now that you've done this?
I mean, look, like I alluded to, I mean, I think this is probably going to be one of the hardest title fights that you ever corner in, as far as pressure. You just talked about it. The situation being what it was for Brandon and me, and it being, the compressed time that we had to work together, going to enemy territory, going into Rio, fighting a guy for the fourth time, where these two guys knew each other so well, had spent so much time in the octagon together. They knew each other's tendencies and where to win and what to stay away from. So, I mean, it's not like, hey, I got a bunch of tricks up my sleeve, like, this guy's not going to be ready. It's like these two knew each other so well that we really had to have everything locked up. And really, I just felt like Brandon really focused and listened, man. I was just on him about the discipline, and he listened, man. He came through. He just executed awesome. I mean, he barely got hit in that fight. If you look at the stats, I mean, I think he was 85 for 110 or 111 strikes or something crazy like that. But he was so dialed in. I mean, it was just pop, hit, move, pop, hit, move. And Capetillo, my man Capetillo, shout out to him, his boxing coach, straight gangster in Vegas. Everybody just did their job, man. And it was a beautiful performance. And for me, no, I think it just levels everybody up. I mean, everybody sees I'm their coach too. I mean, I would be excited to see my coach performing at that level. And the same thing with the breakdown show. Everybody all the guys tell me that we love that you're doing that, coach. We think it's so cool. So Greg Jackson was my coach. And whenever he did something cool, it always made me proud. Like, hey, that's my coach. And for the guys, they're so great. We have so much greatness in our gym, and so much, such a future that's so exciting. But I think for them to see success and be around Brandon, who's the sweetest guy in the world, see how a champ operates like that guy. I mean, that guy, he's just salt of the earth guy. How could you not love that guy as an example of a champion? Humble, teamwork, never, dude. I saw that guy all week, man. The way he talks to every single person, uh, whether it was the help, anybody with so much class and dignity. Like, that's just who he is, and those are the type of people I like to roll with, and that's the kind of people we have at our gym. So I just think overall it's a real positive thing for everybody, for me, obviously, for the team. It was great for Brandon. Great to see him, get his legacy and have his history. And winning is just good for everybody, John. Whenever there's winning involved, everybody's happy. So.
Well, I mean, you say that, but in some situations, all of a sudden you see people get jealous or they start talking. But I think you've created such a family atmosphere in there at Fortis MMA that I tend to believe that everything you're saying is 100% true, that everybody just looks at it as a net positive. Like, look at what our coach is out there doing. Look at what he's learning. Look at what he's accomplishing. It seems like everybody's going to be happy rather than some of the jealousies you see sometimes.
Think about this, though. I mean, think about this. Our team is like everyone on our team. There's just no drama on our team, man. We don't got loud people that's the reason why, like, we got Gym of the Year. MMA Junkie gave us Gym of the Year, which was huge. And everyone's like, well, who's there? Well, who's that? It's like, oh, I don't know, just 6 ranked fighters we had more wins than anyone else in the UFC. We had more ranked wins. We had more. I mean, we win every weekend. We were winning last year, So it's just because we don't have a lot of loudmouths. We don't have the guys that are stars. Jeff is a freaking star. Jeff Neal is unbelievable fighter. Span, unbelievable fighter. But these guys are not. They're not loud guys. They're not guys that are going to go online and talk shit and create drama. That's just not who they are. And I like that because that's not how I am. And I'm never going to tell my guys to be a certain way. I know the game has changed. All the credit in the world to the guys that created that, like the Sean O'Malley's, like, mad respect to that dude, man. And he fucking proved it too against Peter Yan. Like, he went out there and did it. But there's a lot of these guys that have created, a lot of fanfare online, and people tweeting when they're walking out to the cage and stuff. Man, that's just not my thing, man. I mean, maybe I'm old, maybe I'm old school, I don't know, but I don't mind it. And I realize, though, it puts these guys kind of at a disadvantage because this sport's moving so quick. There's so many people in and out. Like, it's not even the fans' fault. Like, it's just the way it is now. But I respect that out of that group. And I think that for me, I feel like Brandon is that kind of guy too. He's just a damn star because he's already done it. He's already accomplished it. So maybe even for them too, to be able to see a guy humble like that, who's a family guy, who just cares about all the right things in life, also be a star, will help those guys be a star too, because that's really what it comes down to. And I think we've got multiple people in that room that will wear belts. Macy is unbelievable, female athlete. Jeff is unbelievable. Span is unbelievable. Kennedy, that dude is warming up, boy. I mean, everybody had such an unbelievable year and these huge moments last year, and they're just growing. And look, I told these guys, I'm going to ride this bus till you guys are done, and then I'm jumping off, and that's it. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to raise a whole nother crop to come up. I've been doing this since 2006. That was my 80th win in the UFC. I've told you that I wanted 100 wins in the UFC. That was my 80th win. It took me 80 wins to get a title. And that's what I want to do. And I mean, man, and maybe by 2025, 2026, that'll be 20 years I've been doing this. Fought, 3 years, 8 surgeries, paid my dues, man, took my lumps, took my bumps. And this isn't an easy game. So just the time away from my kids, and I'm always gone all the time. Like, my wife is always having to do everything by herself, and run the gym. And it's tiring, man. But I literally feel like I'm doing this for them. So I don't really have those feelings anymore of like how I want it and how it is. Like, I'm too tired for all that, John. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a guy in my 20s or 30s, like, hey, look at me, watch me prove this. No, I really want to see these guys get to their apex level. I want to see them make the money, the life-changing money for their families, and right off in the sunset, man. That's the way it's supposed to be.
I love it, man. And I know all those feelings that you have for your team are true, man. So I know there's much more success coming. I guess the last question I have for you is, you got your first title. Is the first title defense coming up soon? I mean, I saw Brandon in the press conference said maybe I need to go out to Dallas next time. It seems like he's in. Have y'all had that discussion yet?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll talk about all that. I mean, we talked about it briefly after the fight. He said, "Yeah, coach, I'm going to come down," and he brought it up in the press conference, gave me all kinds of love. He's just, the guy's as sweet as it comes, man. And but it's like I've been saying. I mean, leave the guy alone. I mean, Jesus, this is the thing about fighting, man. Like, you walk outside of the cage, you put your foot down. Everyone's like, "Well, who's next? How
What's
about now?"
next?
It's like,
What's
oh
next?
my God, dude, can I just take a breath? Like, this kid had so much on his shoulders, John. I mean, he had the legacy. He had, to have to win this fight, to basically own the whole history. We had to go to Rio. He had injuries. He had, that, watch that documentary. It shows it all. We had adversity. He got really sick. Like, he's just a really sweet kid. He just powered through everything, man. He's just a fucking soldier, that kid, and he's a champ, man. He's a winner. And all week he's watching Jordan, The Last Dance. Like, that's the kind of kid he is, man. He's a winner, and I love that, because that's exactly how I am, and that's exactly how I think, and it's all about winning. Nothing else really matters. All the other personal stuff, it's whatever, man. It's all secondary. Winning is everything in sports, and I think Brandon Moreno understands that, and we'll see what happens in the future. But I told him, take a break, get some rest, let him hang out with his family, man. And I think it'll be Pantoja probably, and we'll deal with all that as it comes. But let the kid have a break, man. Jeez.
I love it, man. Well, speaking of taking a break and spending time with family, I know you just got back from Brazil. I know you got family in the house, so I've taken enough of your time. But hey, man, we've known each other a long time, and this was too special of a situation not to check in with you, man. So congratulations, and obviously, I'm wishing you much continued success.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate it, man. I really do.